Cooper, and we're celebrating uh, with Light here. I don't know what to say. Just thank you, Chad. We finally got this book out. Woo! Party! We're having a little launch party here. And we're just excited because Sheila and the 99 Secret Space program is now on Amazon. And check out this dragon that my daughter gave me just yesterday. I was like, wow, it couldn't have come at a better time. And of course, I earned this shirt, Pop Cancer. I got my shield here. And what does it say? Enlisted, ranked, well earned attitude. I was with Chad in Oregon before before the main surgery, and I had the biopsy, so it was pretty tough, going up the. I wanted to climb pretty much the mountains where the redwoods were, but I did get a tour, and thank you, Chad, for doing that for me. So now, okay. So we were also labeled, comma, abandoned and called crazy. Well, guess what, guys? And then Chad um subconsciously like put a big old S at the end. And I'm like, yeah, because we're superheroes. Remember, we are the stars that fall. We are the superheroes and defenders of galaxies for the betterment of all. So, what do you think, Chad? How was it for you? Because I know that the last 4 days, I said, okay, we got to do this. And I think it was like maybe 30 hours that we did in 4 days, but we did have a lot. I had a lot written. It's just that he was helping me with the edit. And then he helped me. He bought this system or something, right, Chad, that you did like the AI thing to transcribe. Um, it was like voice all the most of my some well, whatever I asked for you to transcribe from my videos. Unfortunately, there was 10 videos that were taken down by YouTube, but oh well. Um, I had the 10 journals, but you helped me a lot to put just the wording together and then the AI, my face for the Sheila.
Yeah,
So, mhm.
that was a lot of work. I mean, because well, it was a challenging year first of all because I know my year started off a little rough, and I know your year was taking off a little rough. Um,
Yeah.
from the year before, and then you also had a rough ending to it. It's been rough all the way through, right? I mean, just one thing after another, trying to get the book written. Um, I lost my job, and it was due to discrimination and different things like this, right? So injustice was had, and injustice was being had by you, and anything and everything. Well, excuse the pun, but in the book that could be thrown at us was, and and we did our best. We just muscled through it, and it was a learning experience. Like she said, there were certain things that I did pay for in the beginning, like AI transcribers, but then you learn, you can just do that another way. You can always just record it and then just have pages type it out or do something. So we had to wait for money sometimes, and then other times we figured it out from there to do it free ways, not like the roads, but free and a way that was free. And then there was the AI that I paid for the art, and we all have mixed feelings about like AI and AI art and stuff like that because we would really love to use like a real artist, and eventually, you know what, we're gonna have that real artist with that real piece of work for Sheila, something that can be sold and hung on walls and stuff like that. But I was okay with the AI the way it was right now because it was like we don't own it and neither does anybody else. So we were allowed to use it in our book, and that worked for me. But it took a lot of work because any of you that have tried to create with AI, it's at its juvenile state right now, or let's just say it's been inhibited. Like as far as what its functionality can actually do, um, for us. We're getting like the basic version of it while they're working with all the advanced stuff. But so you think to yourself, okay, all I need to do is add some words, and I can come up with the perfect picture. Well, the next thing you know, you got hands growing out of their face, and they got 6 hands, and everything's perfect about it except for this, or everything's perfect about it except for that, or you try to add the scene to it, and it's got it all jumbled around and mixed up. It takes a lot of work to try and pull out a picture that's perfect, and I would irritate Veronica just for fun. Just kidding, Veronica. But I would send her about 30 pictures of the same thing and say, which one's the best one? And she would always choose. She'd know which one was right for her. And then I said her, which one is closest to what you're, because I'm not in Veronica's head. So for me, I had to work with some visuals, and I would create those in the beginning just so I had something to work off of. And I had an image and then by me doing that, I thought the reader would also have the same opportunity, to enjoy some of the visuals in there. Not everything in the visuals are 2T, because like we said, it was AI and it was its interpretation of what we were saying. Um, but we look forward to getting an artist one day and having some like real art or whatever, uh, in honor of Sheila. And I do believe quite a bit of reflections of Sheila came out in this too, because we put, it's really hard to access a story from beginning to end when you're dealing with fragments and fractured memories and that sort of thing. So there's definitely some reflections of Sheila in there. uh, so I paid for like Ivan Teller sessions, because we wanted a psychic perspective from this, and somebody within the community that has worked with us before, and a channeler, not just a psychic perspective, but a channel, some information coming from Sheila herself, and we were able to obtain a little bit of that through those sessions. And then we also tried to do it through regressions, which was fun, because I got
It
to piss
was.
Monica off. Actually, I didn't piss you off, right? I'm not the one that pissed you off. I just went with the flow because I think she was angry from her day, and I said, "Oh, I need to channel Sheila. This is perfect." So let's. Because a lot of people think when you go to put someone in hypnosis, it's just going to be like, bird singing and Snow White,
Love and light and
and all that kind of stuff.
rainbows shooting out of your butt.
And you'll see that in one of the things. She starts it off saying, "I'm pissed," and she looks right into the camera at me, and I'm like, "Right where I want you." And then
I
she hit
got you where I
record
want
and
you.
went into the recording and everything. So, we did what we could. We cleaned up things. We kept things. Um, she handed me a lot, so you'll hear my voice in there with things that I've cleaned up. But then there's certain areas where I just wanted it to sound organic, and so that was like more in the regressions. You'll hear Ivan's voice, you'll hear your voice, you'll hear Zen's voice or my voice, and then yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it's been a process, and like I said, it's not easy to do with having a nervous breakdown, me, and then what, two surgeries, yes, and then also wondering, it's just it was a lot to push out a first book, and so we apologize. It took a year. I know
Oh my
Veronica
gosh,
finally got to
I
the point
had
where she says we're putting it out now, and we just crammed, and I was okay with that because
yeah.
I wanted to spend more time on it, clean it up a little more, but she says nope, we're doing it now. And
It was 4 surgeries,
before the
Scott.
life, yeah, before life throws anything else at us, and there's always book two and book three, and we
Yeah.
just need to move on and
Yeah.
what we have,
Yeah.
celebrate
It's
what
been
we have,
tough.
and move on. I mean, like with the rest of the story, so, and we're excited to do that too. So
Yeah, and some people were saying, "Oh, I can't wait to hear your story," and I'm like, "That's barely coming out in book two. I just started book two 2 days ago, as I was telling Chad." And let me just read a little bit of a reoccurring dream that I kind of like. I told Chad, "Okay, I want it here." And it's somewhere in Europe. It's night, and there's music. There's another girl there. She's a friend of mine. All three of us were friends. We were wearing black. I'm wearing a dress suit and a trench coat, and there is a party outside. Fireworks going on as well. It is really far from us, but we are all told to go into the building. The building is in the shape of a bell. Does it ring a bell? it it's white and it looks like an observatory. We go inside, and throughout the whole room, there are these sea creatures that I've never seen anything like before. And it goes on, and then I'm not going to tell, I'm not going to read it all, but it goes on um, to say how there was an explosion, and then bam, Sheila comes out. But I'm not going to say everything because you got to look at the art as well. It was funny because, like you were talking about, Chad, I would say, "I want her more green." No, that's just no, that's a neon green. Like, I want her no, she's more green. Like, because I look at myself in my memories or whatever, and then, in the second book, it's like, boom, Wolverine Sheila comes out, But we were just trying to, because I've had a lot of memories of Sheila, but then people like Jamin Vasquez and um uh, helped me with that too. And I was able to relay that to you, Chad, because it was just so hard to piece everything. We had like puzzles, but piecing it all together was a challenge. Like putting it all kind of like in
Yeah, you get
chronological
recollection
order or
of
whatever.
Sheila. You get, yeah, you definitely, and she does come through. I mean, there's a couple times you channeled her where she was. You can definitely hear her voice come through quite strong. I forgot about that. You did channel her a couple times as well, especially
Yeah, and you.
God.
Go
I like
ahead.
that one a lot.
Oh yeah.
Sheila's message
Um,
to God, and then also she does give like a motivational speech in there too. I like that as
yes, and then what was I
well.
gonna
Getting
say?
to know her too, because I have to connect to her a little bit as well too in there.
Yeah, let me see if I can read something else here. Mm, okay, so I talk about the Umbrella Project, Black Shield, and then the 99. The 99 are based in from an underground lab. The lab is pretty, although some areas are dark and ugly and scary. It's under Antarctica. I spoke to Janine. She's one of the people there, the scientists. They're there. I asked her, "What am I doing here?" That's when I'm like already in the lab and I busted out of the cryo tank. And so I'm looking for answers. And um, it's pretty interesting how we can bounce back from the lab to like my realities here, and then also more of the memories. What else? I talk about the blue bloods. In 2018, I talk about a person that contacted me about the blue moon, the blue dragon on the moon, and I won't give you too many details, but that's there. Um, yeah, because it's something that's ah, an anomaly that's flying around right now that people are like, "Oh my gosh, CNN is putting like all this information out." I'm like, "Bro, like we were talking about this like years ago in my remote viewing, or Chad would ask me questions and he would have epiphanies too. So it's helped. Um, what else can we read? Oh yeah, I also talk about we also talk about the Crystal Gates program, the dolphins, how we can communicate with them or how I communicated with them. And then also, Jamin Vasquez had a dream about that. Like, I was like, how could you have a dream and me have a memory, and I don't even know you until years later. I had my awakening in 2017, what they call watching Max Steers. And I didn't write a whole lot about Max on this one, just about the Mars jump room and how I've had dreams that I've had twins, a boy and a girl with him. And I told Chad, and I'm like, "What's going on?" I knew I had a connection. I knew him. I knew I had memories with him, but it's kind of like it's kind of it's mind-boggling and sometimes because you're over here trained to be this war person, right? This war hero. You're in the army and you gotta kick ass, and then you become a police officer and you're still things happen like MK Ultra. I mean, you guys heard of it's a really tough subject. I was crying and crying the other day because six police officers took their lives in the sheriff's Texas County. And it just brought back memories. And I told Chad, it was that day when I said, you know what, we're going to hone in. We're going to just finish the book now because we've been delaying it. And yes, we do talk, send each other messages on, you know, email or talk, uh, text. And that day was pretty difficult because I knew what had happened. It's like MK Ultra, it's voice to skull, but now it's more like Monarch. It's taken over by it's pretty much done through artificial intelligence where you're hearing these voices, man, you gotta end your life, you're not worth it or whatever. And these people, when you have an awakening and you're already like a good person and and it's like you're trying to do the right thing, what if these officers had an epiphany? What if they had an awakening and said, oh my gosh, like I can't do this job, or I'm not going to lie anymore for it, because there's a lot of things that happen in law enforcement that even though they teach you the morals and certain laws and rules as police officers, you don't know what we went through. You don't know how we're threatened. You don't know you don't know how we're being treated at home. And you're constantly being told you're not good enough, but then you have to be out there kicking ass, taking names later as a police officer. So what if these officers had an awakening during this time? It's like, I'm not going to lie anymore for these people. I just we'll just keep it at that. um our bosses or higher up, and one of the females, they didn't find her body until later, and it just like brought these memories that I had to deal with. I did not talk about my near death experience in this book, but I am writing. I started the second book and I wrote that in there. And I'm gonna go I did talk a little bit about my police experience here because it is through the secret space program how they covered up what happened to me with the suicide attempt, which I lived. I'm still here. And when I went to last week, when I went to the urologist, after he examined me, he says, you're a very special and delicate case, very complicated. So we're still here trying to piece our lives. And Chad, with all the discrimination over there, he would call me and we would talk, and I'm like, dude, like that's not right. Like something has to be done. And I was so glad that he was finally able to get some temporary disability. And I hope the best that you'll be able to get, more situated in that. So you'll hear, like Chad said, you'll hear his voice, feel his, like, aura, and
Well, there was
it's
that
it's just
German
fun.
connection in there too. Remember, we
Yes.
made that German connection that I wanted to tie in there with that. So I added some of that in there with yours, um, the missing 411 information. So I didn't add too
Yeah.
much, but I just tried to enhance what you were saying and connect it all together, seamlessly in it. And it does. It has a flow to it, but it's little excerpts of Sheila's
Yeah.
experiences, and I like that she does come through. I do get a sense of her. I mean, you can't miss her. She's an f bomb.
That's right. We got to tell people.
She's an f bomber.
I we said it was a book for 18 and above because there are some sexual explicit, how do you say it? Explicit sexual explicit content in some areas, and then of course um the boobs got to come out, right? At some point they have to come out in the AI. So kind of graphic, we'll just say, but not too graphic. It's just, you know,
An interpretation.
an interpretation. I did write down the memory that, sorry, the dream that I had, or memory of Kim Godwin coming to me. I don't know if you guys know who she is. She goes, they call her Kim Possible from like the Kim Possible cartoons, and she threatened me. She said that if I keep talking, then it's gonna be my right leg next. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no. Um, it's just, I'll just say they. Um, They meaning the ones that are 47 degrees or 47 steps higher than Trump or any president. They don't want me to keep speaking. So they keep threatening me through memories, dreams, or other people. Right, Chad? And
Yeah,
Chad and I,
threatened me too.
Chad, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, they've threatened me in dreams. They've tried to figure me out in dreams too. Whenever I work with you.
The fairies in there.
Yeah, I put the fairy in there. The one that attacked me. Yeah, I talk about her. That's right. There's this little fairy that attacks me whenever, or it was the first time of me seeing Astral. Let me put it that way. Astral came to me, and she was not happy. Yep, she had little things, and she was not. She was making sure I saw them nice and clear. Leaned her head back and everything. It was interesting. Yeah, Veronica's very attacked, and so, um, I mean, it's just that it does make it a challenge, but at the same time, it validates everything too. Because why would they be attacking her?
Hmm.
Working so hard against her, one thing after another after another.
And we were supposed to go to the Secret Space conference in July. Um, I think it's in Florida, isn't it?
Yeah,
Something like that. I don't even know if I could fly right now with half of a lung missing. I still haven't gotten clear to do that. I'm still having a hard time walking Lola, because my German Shepherd, because she pulls on me and I feel it, and at night I'm like, it's just a lot of pain still. So I'm still getting accustomed to what I used to do. I still haven't been able to go to the gym yet. I'm still recovering from the glutes. um, the range of motion is I've had to adjust like freaking RoboCop here. One piece and then another piece, and so my urologist just
oh,
looks at me, and because my colon was disconnected in 2010 and then connected, and you should see all the X-rays around the colon, like staple, 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 staple. How is this
yeah,
girl even alive? And the titanium on my back, and my back's still fractured. I don't even know how I was lifting so heavy, and it's incredible, right?
yeah,
He called me because I said, "Yeah, sir, I've had 30 surgeries, and then he's like, "Wow, you're like a superhero." And I said, "Well, they call me super soldier, which I don't really like that name." But then last week I went to my sister paid for me to get an hour massage, and she's a friend of the family's, and the lady says, "Oh my gosh, you're the exterminator, aren't you?" And I'm like, she called me the exterminator. I go, "You mean Arnold Schwarzenegger?" Because she doesn't know English that well. She goes, "Yeah, that ese ese." And I'm like, "Yeah." And guess what, Chad? For the second book, I was able to find you guys. I was okay. You know how Ivan Teller said that I'm a part of the Silver Surfer? Guess what, Chad? I found a dream
Hmm.
last 2 days ago, and I that's gonna be I put it in for the second book. I was like, no way. It's crazy. Like it all comes together. So we're encouraging you guys, whoever's like me that took forever to write this darn book. I started writing, like I said, on my laptop in 2015. This was before my awakening, and then I had a writing block, and my daughter just said, "You know what, Mom? You're just crying too much. Just stop writing. Just stop." So I kept writing on my journals, but I just stopped on the laptop because there was some kind of mind F, and as soon as Chad and I'm not kidding, Chad, I told you too. As soon as I went to KDP, because we published it through Amazon KDP, as soon as I went through there and published it, that night I couldn't sleep. And the next day I started writing the second book like that. And I'm thinking they had to have put that writing block on me because they didn't want me to write.
And you just had to muscle through it, yeah, because it was like one thing after another, after I mean, we had our moments of, to work on it, and we got things done during them, regressions, um, interview or sessions with Ivan and stuff like that. But there was a lot of downtime between the surgeries and then my situation. But they threw everything they had at us, and we still came. So that's what it takes, right?
Dude,
That's
remember
quite a
Tom
bit to throw
House?
at somebody. I mean, two life altering situation. I mean, two. I mean, three. Yeah, it was like it wasn't anything light, y'all. Just say completely life changing.
Yeah. I didn't know if I was gonna
Situations
live
right
or
in the middle
not.
of trying
You
to write a book.
too.
It was like, thanks.
You too, Chad. You went through the whole, I don't want to say what kind, you had um surgery too. And if it wasn't for you
So,
sending me that stuff that helped you, I used everything that you sent me. Even this last time, like the Blue Lotus, you taught me how to make certain things, and then you sent me supplements, and you said, okay, well, this helped me to close up the area. And I don't know if you want to say what you had done, but what happened to you, it
yeah.
was cancer, right?
No, mine was the appendix. My appendix exploded on mine a while ago. So, and that's usually derived from self hate, and I was going through that at the time. So, but now we go through these things and we come out of them, and now I don't have that self hate anymore. What about you?
Mhm.
I know you went through a couple dark nights of the soul, um, through this process, and I know you've done some changing.
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna live through, and I've had to, oh my gosh, like, just the divorce again came back. It came back to haunt me.
Yeah,
um I had to, my son graduated from the U of A, so I had to make sure that I was there for him
yeah,
and face the other party. Now, what's interesting, and remind me, Chad, to write this for the second book. Like I said, everything comes to fruition, everything comes together. You just have to act on it. You can't just be, oh, I gotta write my book. No, you gotta act upon it. So, just like 3 weeks ago, I had a dream because I've been asking myself, what really happened? Was I pretty much, when the ex cheated like the third time, right? He left his phone on the table, and I kept thinking, why would he leave his phone on the table for me to find that he was still texting her after he had come back to me after he left me and my kids for 40 days, right? So I had a dream that night because I kept asking, and I had a dream that it was him and the woman who he cheated with. Of course, she had different hair. You know how they do that with the how do you say the holograms. Well, it ended up being that she and he had planned that they had planned to drive me crazy. Um, and there was a she even did something to where she called on the radio to like get me into the psych ward, and she said, "I'm gonna take everything from you." Because
Yep.
I said, "You know what? Okay, fine. You're gonna be with her. Okay, fine." Because they were trying to take my kids away in the dream as well as here in this life. And so in the dream, I said, "Well, I need at least half of the house for my kids." And the woman said, "Oh no." En español, "Te voy a dejar sin nada. I'm gonna leave you with nothing." And I'm like, "Holy fuck, that's exactly what happened in this lifetime." So I was left with nothing. I was left homeless and shit. And it's like it was confirmed that um they were both in this coercion together to get me to the point to shoot myself. So if you all are in a situation where you can't leave your husband, but he's cheating, or vice versa, a woman, you got to get help somehow. I couldn't tell my chief, but you got to get help. And so don't do what I did. um, and then for the second book, I found another dream yesterday where my grandmother is in my dream and my grandfather. I won't tell you what side, and I won't tell you who seated me in the secret space program, but there was a part where my grandmother said, "You have you have two decisions in your womb." I'm like, "What?" And back then, I didn't know what the heck it was until now. It was exactly that. That when I died for those 3 days and I saw what I saw, which is gonna be in the second book, which is on my videos anyway, that was a decision that I had to make, and it took my father to come and say, "Hey, you can't, you can't stay with me," because I later on, I found out that I was, like, swinging at these guys, but a lot of things came a lot of answers come to you when you're in a situation of life and death. And you're going to have to make a decision whether you're going to keep going or you're going to fucking just give up. Believe me, there was many times that I wanted to give up, but I said I can't do that again. I can't give up again. I can't. I swore it to myself and I swore it to my children. I'm not giving up. Um, it's been tough too because I was writing about the artificial intelligence a long time ago. I told Chad, "Hey, I'm going to give the classes that I have for free here in the book." And I found out that Cyrus Parser was suicided, and I didn't even know that he was writing the same thing that I was until Julia from Greece said, "Hey, Veronica, he's like you." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And so I'm like, "What?" And I reached out to him, but like I said, I should have reached out to him on email instead of Instagram before, like, last year. So he was taken out the 20th of February. The 26th of February was my birthday. He was taken out. Gene Hackman and his wife and the dog was taken out on my birthday. A lot of people were taken out. Sean, what was his name? Sean Morton was taken out. He was sent cancer. He was talking about to Carrie Cassidy about all this. So I was telling Chad, we gotta get at least the first book out because a lot of the visions that I've had, like the F-47, it came out already. But we finally put it in there, right, Chad? And I said, "Chad, I remote viewed and it has Star Wars technology in there." Um, Shoot, we forgot to put the floods in there, Chad. But that's okay. We'll do it in the second one. There's just a lot. It's so I was last night I couldn't even sleep just thinking about how much information I have that I still, I don't know, I'm thinking of doing like 6 to 10 books, because like even my sister said you can do a series. And I was telling her, hey man, they take 60% for the Amazon. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I can go to Office Max and do this little binding thing, but how would I get it out? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But Amazon seems to be the best bet right now. Um, what is it called? Barnes and Noble. If you go through them, the press, it's like 70% what they keep. So, but anyway, it's about the message, right? And it's about the message. And I'm really happy. And here we are. I asked myself, well, what is this? Sheila says. They have us on a metal slab. After taking us from our region tank, we are hooked up to machines. It's me, the Hulk, Sheila, She-Hulk, and Jamin Vasquez is to my right, and then they have another female to my left, and there's all these others in cryo tanks. There's a strand of our DNA that is red on one side and green on the other. There's a lot to do with Project Umbrella. It is involved. They get many healing powers, both dolphins and hulks. We can go through walls, go through portals. We can echolocate. Some people call it biolocating, but but that can mean something else, like our biofield. A lot of people think, "Oh my gosh, my aura, like, why am I getting goosebumps?" Well, because your aura is confirming with you that that is the truth. Your aura is your biofield that can extend throughout miles and miles. You'll know who's gonna come to your door before they even park. You know what I'm saying? You know when your kids are coming because you are a protector of your leyland. So I talk a little bit about that. I talk about the Kim Godwin, how she threatened me and stuff if I keep talking. What else? 20, let's see, let's read more. It's 133 pages, I believe, or 129. And then I say, hey, hi, Zen. I have a recurring memory, part of the Dolphin program, which is named Project Crystal Gate. I am in a house. I open the door and it's a blue shed. A man is waiting for me outside on a small boat. He he had food for me. Then he takes me to a bigger ship. It's dark now, but my colleagues and friends are there. And then now we're in two medium ships. And from that one, we connect to SS Lorraine, which I didn't even, I had that memory for the longest time. But then when Chad did the regression with me with the Hulk, it came out that I was in a museum. And from the museum, we went through and we got into the SS Lorraine. Um, there's a lot of answers that have come through, and I've had to look at myself. I've had to look at my mirrors. Anything else you want to say, Chad? And we'll put the link of the books of the book here on the. I think that's all I'm going to say because it's already 39 minutes, and I don't want to just give all everything that happens in the book, in the first book.
No, I understand. Yeah, no, I'm ready. I'm good. It was a fun journey, despite all the ups and downs. This got us through them. This got us through it, actually. So
I just want to say one more thing. Remember Tom Althouse? He was sent to us. We did 21 videos with him. That was a distraction too. But he'll be talking. I just found out he'll be talking over there in Los Angeles with Carrie Cassidy, and I'm like, wait, I thought we were all supposed to go together. But it was a distraction. I mean, I'm glad we helped him, and after he said that Roseanne Barr and Trump was, she said that Roseanne Barr said that Trump was watching all of our shows, and we were trying to get Tom Outhouse to go to with us to Florida for the secret space program thing. But something happened to where uh, he said that Brian Zhang wanted him to make sure he brought Roseanne Barr to the SSP conference. If not, he wouldn't be able to talk. So I guess that's why he went with Carrie Cassidy because he didn't have to show up with Roseanne Barr.
yeah, so
Mhm.
It was something like that, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we forgot I
Very
forgot to put one of Trump's dreams here, not the nasty one, but the one with, when I'm taking, paperwork from to help him and, um but anyway, there's a lot more to add, but this gonna be this book is great. I'm really happy that it finally got out. The ebook should be getting out soon, and I'm just gonna keep working and working, and thank you, Chad, again for being with me, and we'll
for having.
talk soon, guys. Thank you for being on Codebreaker Real Talk with Chad and Veronica. See you later. Toodles. Buy the book. Thank you.